Hey everybody, Gary here, and today I'd like to share with you my portrait editing workflow so you can switch from posting over-softened, featureless selfies to something a little more like this. So let's get started. So first things first, we have to straighten out this image using the eyes as guides and crop things into that 5:4 aspect ratio that we love. And we're not going to get a perfect rule of thirds or anything in here. We're just going to get it just nice, just the way we kind of feel it to be right. And I'm just going to bring up the exposure a little bit, just until we start to get some clipping in the white portions of the scarf. I'm going to cool things off a little, bring the temperature down with the white balance adjustment, and we're just going to bring the detail up just a smidge. We're going to do most of our detail work using contrast adjustment layers after we develop our raw image. We want to get rid of some of the noise here in the background because as we apply contrast, it would really accentuate the noise. So best to take care of that from the outset. And now we're ready to develop. And so we're going to use two different methods. One by Sean Tucker, or that I've sort of adapted from Sean Tucker's workflow, great YouTuber, and also workflow by Unmesh Dinda at Pix Imperfect, also a fantastic YouTube channel, far more talented folks than myself. But to start, we just infilled that background alpha channel. We're just going to move in and see the effect of this high pass filter, just until we get a little more detail in the eyes. That looks good. And we can use an overlay or hard light blend mode, but I think we'll go with overlay. It just does the tiniest little adjustment to the detail when combined with that high pass filter. So we're going to merge our adjustments thus far and create a new pixel layer. And from here we actually apply a black and white adjustment. And this is going to start to look a little bit weird. We're not trying to make a black and white image. We're just trying to create some contrast in the red and yellow tones. And that just brings out some nice contrast in the skin once we apply a soft light blend adjustment or blend mode. And just because that's a little intense, we're going to bring the opacity down just until we get something a little punchier. I think that's much better looking than how we had started. So next we're going to apply curves adjustment, and we're going to use the luminosity blend mode. That way we aren't actually affecting the color channels. We're just sort of changing the contrast in the highlights and shadows and midtones. So we just bring down our shadows just to get a little more crunch. Maybe bring up the highlights just a smidge. And then get a nice roll off with our midtones, just until that looks right. And there's no real formula for this. You just sort of play with it until you get a look that suits your liking. So we're going to go on to the skin softening portion of the tutorial. We're just going to flatten that image, create a duplicate pixel layer which we will invert, and then switch the blend mode to vivid light. And to that pixel layer we're going to apply a high pass filter with a pretty high value. We're going to go all the way up to 24. Just plug it right in there. There we go. And that looks a little funny, but we're going to also add a Gaussian blur at just until we see, some skin detail, some pores and whatnot coming through, but we want to just get a nice softening effect. But we don't want that effect applied globally. We actually want to mask that layer, and we're going to invert that mask so that the effect is totally gone, and we're just going to paint in that softening effect with a white brush. So we're just going to zoom in here, and you're going to see the effect is very gently being reapplied to those areas that we want to soften, but while at the same time not softening the areas that we obviously want to have sharpness, like the hair and eyes. Just brushing along. And we want to get under the eyes and just above the eyelashes, but again, trying not to soften the eyelashes themselves or the eyebrows. And that's looking really great. So we're going to flatten our image, and we're just going to use the in-painting brush to take care of a few little creases. So we've got a little crease here at the eye. Get rid of that. And we're just going to go to the forehead, just a few little creases here, very subtly. Doesn't look too fake. And now we're going to do the same thing just to take care of some of these little flyaway strands of hair. And this can be pretty tedious, so I think we'll just do a couple just to give you an idea of how it's done, and we'll just speed through the rest of them. So while I think this is a really great image, I think we can tweak the color just a little bit. So we're going to add another white balance adjustment, and we're just going to cool things off just a little bit. Bring things a little more to the blue side, and maybe just reducing the tint just a little bit. So we have some nice natural skin tones. And then we're going to add also a levels adjustment just to brighten things. Just bring that white point up. You know, those bright photos tend to get more likes for some reason. And also, I think an HSL, probably go for an HSL adjustment, just bringing up the reds. Bring up the reds a little, just to give a little more warmth to the skin tone, maybe the yellows. Just bring up the highlights in the hair. And then the blues as well for the scarf and the eyes. And that is looking really good. It's just a warmer, more saturated image. And you know what? We're going to cheat. We're going to use a little brightness and contrast. Just a little bit. There, I like that. Just a little punchier. Now, unfortunately, by increasing the yellow tones globally, what we've done, we've actually introduced some yellowness to the teeth. So we're going to fix that very quickly. We're just going to add another HSL adjustment layer. Oh, not that one. That one. There we go. And we're just going to go to the yellow channel, bring the saturation all the way down, bring the luminosity all the way up. And you can see when that's applied globally, Emily looks a little bit like a Game of Thrones character or something. But we're just going to bring that adjustment layer onto our duplicated pixel layer, and we're going to mask it, and we're just going to go into the teeth with a white brush, just like a toothbrush, and just paint that back in to get rid of that that yellowness we'd introduced with our previous HSL adjustment. And that looks fantastic. So we're going to export, and we're going to set it to our 2048 on the log edge, and I'm sure this photo will get a ton of likes. So that's it. Easy, right? If you've got any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments section below. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, subs if you loved it. Make sure you hit that bell notification so you get notified the next time I upload something else. And until next time, take more photos. Later.